listen, don't be fooled by someone who tells you you're broken. You are not broken. You're slightly imbalanced, you're slightly bent, and everything slightly imbalanced or bent can be back to normal.
Behind the practice.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Behind the Practice. I'm Katie Brinkley, and today we're sitting down with Brian Bradley, the Brian Bradley over on the gram. Brian, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. I know you've been busy doing this kind of stuff, and it's not easy. The camera loves me, and I love the camera, so this should be fun.
I'm really excited for today's episode, and we've had the opportunity to get to know each other just a little bit. But for people who might not know who you are, tell us a little bit about what you do and who you serve.
So, number one, it's when somebody comes up and says, Brian, you're really good at what you do. Like they say that all the time. Okay, but let's say that I'm at a big Tony Robbins event or something. They say, you're really good at what you do. You would think your answer would be, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's what we were brought up to say. Mm-hmm. That's not truthful. The truth is, I know. Because you're on the receiving side of my information, I better be that good if it's truly going to serve you. So it's about, like when you say, who do you serve? Who are you going to help? What are you really doing? I can say what I do, posture, pain, performance, change people's lives with that. But that's all about like what I do. Why do you do it? Well, I got lucky 35 years ago, ran into this and blah, blah, blah. Why do you do it? Oh, I love it. Okay, but that's still not serving you. But how it affects you, like why your upper back is a symptom, why turning your neck sometimes is painful, one direction versus the other. One Direction would be a good name for a band, by the way. If it's not taken.
Just putting that out there.
But when you're in that kind of pain, neck, back, shoulder, hips, knees, digestive issues, it's my job and my team's job to look at the posture, look at the alignment, look at the imbalance, and then serve you by giving you something that's truly going to serve your body versus saying, do this generic exercise because we found that it moves the pelvis. Yeah, but it moves his pelvis. It doesn't move hers. She's had 3 C-sections, she's had scoliosis, and now she has TMJ symptoms. Maybe there's an imbalance somewhere that's doing this. So my number one job is to allow people, through our people that I work with, to allow the posture to correct by the work that you do at home. The analogy is only brush the teeth you want to keep. Only floss the teeth you want to keep. You would never go to the dentist without brushing and flossing for fear that they'd find something else wrong. But yet you don't brush and floss the joints that you want to keep. And then we go to a chiro, PT, an MD and say, fix me, and it's unfair to them.
Yeah.
So we're trying to give you the unfair advantage, a 2mm shift, as Tony Robbins would call it. And when you commit to yourself, it's an absolute game changer. And once you open that Pandora's box, you will never be the same again.
So you've had the opportunity to speak with Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that relationship form?
Yeah, well, he flew off a horse playing polo. If you can picture what that horse looked like, how big was that thing, right? So he flew off a horse playing polo. He showed up for an appointment 2.5 hours late. And I was supposed to go work out at the gym, and I thought, well, I'm going to stay and just work with this guy because I got to give the customer more. I feed off of that. Like, I'll just give them more. That's how I was before. My significance needed it. So I stayed. And from that point on, it changed everything because I had no idea who he was, like zero. This was over 30 years ago when he said at 5'7", walked into our building, up 14 stairs, bent over in a back spasm, pissed off, going, why the don't you have an elevator? And I'm like, calm down, son, let's get to work. And we went to work, and an hour and a half later, he's standing up to 6'7", and goes, wow, this was amazing. Now, having the opportunity to do that, not knowing who the guy was a good thing because you're not starstruck by anybody after that point, right? So but the cool part is that the effect that he has around the world allows me to get on his stage and now affect people in 190 countries. We just did an event with 2.1 million. And that's why even coming to this event, which is amazing, and getting in front of 200, 300, 500, whatever the numbers are, I couldn't care if it's 2, 3, or 5.
Yeah.
You have a great opportunity to change someone's life, which is why on my Instagram, I answer my own DMs. The reason I do that, and I was explaining to your producer, is because number one, I don't have that many followers to make it impossible. but they're expecting to talk to the person that they, quote, trust. And once that trust is there, then they know you actually care about them.
Right. I think that that's one of the hardest things for so many people in medicine right now is, as a consumer of, who can you trust? And because there's, you see all of the different ads out there. Oh, you need this, and this side effect might happen, and this is happening, But then you hear about solutions like this, where someone can walk in, hunched over, 5'7".
Oh yeah.
Walk out feeling better, and it's still not getting the recognition or the mainstream attention that it should. Why do you think that is?
It's changing because we did a study with Harvard, Stanford, multi-million dollar, multi-year study against, and they wanted to pit it against typical allopathic, quote, physical therapy and things like that. I'm not in the business of fighting, okay? I'm in the business of helping fighters, all the UFC guys we work with and things like that, but I'm not in the business of pitting one therapy against the other. Typical allopathic medicine is doing its best under the circumstances it's put itself in, which is the control of the money, who's making the decisions, blah, blah, blah. All that's flipping upside down right now, which is why people are freaked out. The great thing about the posture and pain world is that you have a design blueprint that your body's supposed to look like. Like if your mother said, sit up straight, you wouldn't go, let me bring my head forward. You'd go, no, it's got to be here, here. You would sit up from here to here. But nobody ever said, hey, you've been sitting cross-legged with that leg over for 2.5 minutes. It might behoove you to spend 30 seconds on the other leg. Because your SI joint and all those things are doing it. So once they catch up with, and there's a lot of PTs and OTs and people out there now that are going to a cash-based system, and they're going, I'm sick and tired of being told by someone who knows nothing about my patients, but yet they're dictating what I get reimbursed for. You need to find another therapist who would do that. So the way that we do this is we accompany you, coach you through it, and say, this is a better question to ask your PT. And by the way, if you don't do your exercises before you go, you're making their job literally 100 times harder.
Yeah.
Who suffers?
Yeah.
You do. So you're only hurting yourself. So even if it's, I joke around and say, only brush and floss the teeth you want to keep, well, what if you do the same thing to your knees, your ankles, your hips, and your shoulders, and then eventually your nervous system and spine will fall right into line, which makes the chiro's job easier, makes the PT's job easier, and then they're leaving going, wow, I really helped that person today, when really what they should be doing is patting you on the back going, you allowed me to better help you today. And that all comes from the home education. People, when I worked for Health South Physical Therapy years ago, people would never do home programs. Why do you think that is?
No one was there to hold them accountable.
And nobody really understand why they were doing it. They didn't understand why they were doing it. So they were given a cookie cutter knee exercise program that you gave to 3 of my friends who had knee injuries too. We're all different. The system that we employ allows the person to say, this is specifically for you, which would allow Lindsay to do her menu, which would allow your producers to do their menus that are all different from yours because you brought me a different organic biomechanical movement in front of me.
So how do you define movement intelligence?
How do I, well, first of all, you're using a big word like intelligence. Remember, you're speaking with me. So when you say movement intelligence, like how does the body move more correctly, or what are you looking for?
So I loved how you were talking about, my body's going to react differently than Sean's. This is going to react differently than Lindsay's. This is going to react differently than yours. And these cookie cutter answers that we've been given for decades, this is where the problem lies. So, yeah.
Once I can see you, take pictures of you standing this. Now, there are generalizations. When a pelvis bails forward, the upper back's going to round over and the head's going to go forward. But that's what everybody, if you look at social media now, is your head forward? It's because you're looking at your phone. Then everybody who looked at their phone would be their head forward. I live on my phone, and my head is not sitting up here 24/7. It's back where my T-spine tells it to go because I'm on top of a stable pelvis. Think of the pelvis as the root of the tree during a hurricane. The tree blows over if the roots become weak, if the ground becomes too wet. My hips, my spine are now congruently speaking with each other, and they're locked hand in hand. They're not letting go. So movement intelligence, correct walking patterns and all that is not something you should do consciously. It should be from a a little bit of work that you do with a maximal gain at the back end. So it's all you got to do are specific exercises in an order that fits you, which is where our software comes in and where all that stuff comes in. And listen, and I'm going to make a bold statement. And when we invented functional movement back in the early to mid 80s, nobody was talking about it. Everybody would laugh like, oh, you guys are the guys that think that if you lay an athlete on their back with their legs at 90 degrees and let them settle there for 30 minutes, they get bigger, faster, stronger. And we didn't even hesitate. That's true. What do you mean? The person's laying down doing nothing. When they change the position of their mid-back and it links up with their pelvis, now I can bench press differently. Now my chest grows differently. Now my power is different. So listen, don't be fooled by someone who tells you you're broken. You are not broken. You're slightly imbalanced. You're slightly bent, and everything slightly imbalanced or bent can be back to normal. Broken is broken.
Yeah.
And then we have that psychological tie. I am broken. Wow, I can't get out of this. Why do you say that, Mr. Jones? You have arthritis in your left knee. Well, Brian, when you're 68, you'll know. Great. How old's your other knee? And as soon as you break that psychological pattern, then you have them because they start believing in themselves. Maybe I've been told a story that's just not true.
Yeah.
I'm not even blaming the person who told them because that's what they knew at that time. But times are different. You got to catch up with where the human body's moving toward.
And you're very active over on the Gran.
I love it.
I'm so glad that you love Instagram because, like you said, you answer all your DMs over there. It's you posting. What change are you trying to make for the world, honestly?
Trust. There are people who can be trusted. I just happen to be one of them. The people that I'm affiliated with, even Lindsay, the Tony Robbins of the world, Master Co., all these guys that I work with, the guys from Osteo Strong, all these things. You know, you look at that stuff and you go, I know them.
Yeah.
You know, they're good people. They're focused. Yes, they run a business, but they're not nefarious. In fact, I was talking to a nutrition guy up there in the corner, and he was talking about different products. And I said, I'll let you talk. Go ahead. That's what I'm saying in my head. Let him talk. Let him talk. Is he going to dig himself a hole where he just looks at me as an opportunity to move his product? I don't have an interest in that. I have an interest in finding out exactly what you do, and then I'm going through my head. Calculate this. Who could use this? That's what I did with infrared. That's what I did with red light therapy. That's what I did with the cold plunge. That's what I did with the power plate. There are so many things out that are so good for people, but I'm going to tell you this in the biohacking world, and hear me out on this one. If your body is misaligned, in any way imbalanced, you can start sucking away gain from the work you're putting in. So if you're working out 5 days a week and you're going in with a shoulder here and a head here and cocked over like that, and your knee is valgus because you had an ankle break 30 years ago, then you're not training bilaterally. You're actually training a cocoon. So our saying is this: get straight and then strengthen. And once you do that, you've unlocked a completely different athlete. So that's why on Instagram and all my emails and things like that, it's, yeah, you're getting me. Unfortunately for some people, because they're like, gee, I wish I had his AI version. He's much nicer. But I'm not here to be your friend, because friends tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, and then we'll be good friends after that.
What do you think the biggest jump has been for the wellness industry with what you do?
Biohacking.
Why?
Listen, I worked in the chronic pain world since out of college, athletic training, worked for all this, going to PT school, all these different things. And everything was focused on symptom until I ran into a person who says, wait a minute, the ankle's connected to the knee via these bones, while the knee's connected to this via this bone. And then you're going, wait a second, I hear a song in my head, right? This is connected back in our childhood days. Well, my childhood days, which are way before you. Yeah, so I know. But it's, I'm the old person here. So when you look at what biohacking has done, it's basically educated people to a point where they started questioning the authority in the rehab world. No longer do you just listen to your orthoped and say, well, I have OA in my knee, I need a knee replacement. Not at all. Go get a second and third opinion from two more osteopaths or orthopedic surgeons, and they're going to say possibly 3 different outcomes. But if we're practicing medicine and I'm trying to make a choice, then why wouldn't I listen to people outside that circle too? And that's what the biohacking world has created. Where you're going, well, have you had BPC 157 and TB 500 injected into your knee? Well, those peptides are amazing. And literally amazing as long as they're from a very reputable source. And so when you look at putting those in subcutaneous and the healing properties of them, along with correcting the misalignment of the car, don't just change the wheels, put a new axle on there. You got to fix the rest of the alignment. Now you're right on, and you literally could be subtracting the aging process. Not that we're not going to die. We're going to die. Like, don't kid yourself. I'm not living to 180. I would love to. The world needs me at 180. But I like the idea that I want quality of life, because tomorrow you could step off a curb and it's over, right? But I want quality at that point. I'm going to look good in my coffin, so it's like that guy's shoulders are here. He's not like this.
Yeah. Where do you see the alternative? I keep saying alternative medicine, but I feel like that's the only word that we can really give it, because Western medicine is still just, Big Pharma's got all the spotlight.
Yeah.
So where do you see biohacking, alternative medicine? Where do you see that in the next 20 years?
It depends on who's in office. Let's be honest. And I don't take sides. I wear a Democrat sock on my right foot, and I wear a Republican sock on my left foot. It's kind of fun in the middle where it's purple. So fiscally conservative, socially liberal. So it's a nice place to be, because I can make an educated decision going, how does that affect my son's life in 30 years? How does it affect that person sitting across from me? Well, that's interesting. That homeless guy in the street needs this. Well, it's like, I think that what we have to look at is provide the information. Let me rephrase that. Provide education to people from a young age that is not biased because I make money off of it. If you can just provide education, and now you have to enjoy the sound of your own voice, and which I happen to love it. So I like to talk about not politically where all that stuff is. It's if you can get a person to drink a little bit more water with some quality electrolytes and some quality creatine, because there's crap out there. Just that alone that's getting all the press now, it could be a game changer for everybody psychologically down the road.
Yeah.
Especially women, because you've been told to fear creatine because you're going to become as big as a dude. And my sisters would go, I'm never taking creatine. Well, that's a mistake, because psychologically we could use this. What it's going to do at the blood-brain barrier, what it's going to do for our cells, what it's going to do for going through menopause. For you women out there who are heading toward menopause, in menopause, and after menopause, you have to be on some type of very clean creatine. Now, let me say it. When you DM me, not if, when you do, I have some ideas for you in regards to that, but it's going to be coupled with, if you don't change your shoulder position, your hip position, your knee position, then your digestion's off. And so all of these things, or you're in pain, all of those things mixed together. So there's 1,000 things to choose in this vendor area that we're in right now. How do you know which one to use? You trust your gut.
She's weird.
But if your body's like this, your gut is twisted. So is your thought process. So that's why I would give, like I did with these docs this morning, the triple board certified doctors, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm not triple board certified. I'm certifiable, but I'm not triple board certified. But you need to listen to what I'm going to tell you, or you will eventually kiss your practice goodbye, which means all those people no longer get served. Mm. And meanwhile, you're looking for longevity and how to be better, but your body's failing you on the structural side, which is why the chiropractic stuff, the discussions I had with a couple docs this morning were game-changing. His literal statement was, where was this when I was in school? Why didn't we learn this?
Yeah.
I agree. Every chiropractic school out there should be contacting me about curriculum, because you can pass this on. And the more people that are doing it, the better off society is.
And it comes down to trust. I love that you brought that up, because on social media, it can be hard to pick and to know who to trust. On Amazon, you can buy a whole bunch of different types of, hydrogen water.
Yeah.
And how do you know what you can trust?
Well, how do you know what creatine you're taking when you could have one from Germany and here's another one over here that's fake from Germany, and they convolute the boxes, and now you're getting a good dose versus a bad dose. I mean, and I'm not blaming Amazon, I guess. I don't know enough about them, but there's just so much stuff they're trying to control to get bigger and bigger and bigger and take over the market. I have, that's why I surround myself with people who know what the hell they're doing. Mm-hmm. And I go to somebody like Lindsay, I would say, Lindsay, what do you think about this? We just did an article in Entrepreneur Magazine to talk about going into 2026.
Yeah.
And it was basically the same thing here. Who's taking care of you before you step in the gym, and then you fail 2 months into it, you become, quote, fatter, and then you're upset that the whole system failed you. I'm going to empathize and sympathize with your failure. But what if that turned itself into a learning process and you say, I took the wrong body to the gym, so it failed me. I overrode the tipping point. Your body didn't fail you, you just pushed it too far. What Brian is saying is, I'm talking about myself like in the third person, it's just weird. But what Brian is saying is, step back, look in the mirror, are my shoulders level, stand in front of the mirror, pair of underwear, bathing suit, whatever you want. Shut the drapes so your neighbors don't get a show. But you're standing there and you're looking at it going, my right foot looks completely collapsed. Close your eyes. Where's your body weight? I have more weight on my right foot. Maybe that's why my right knee hurts. Maybe the problem is the left side that I don't even feel. But wait a minute, and I never move that in a car because we don't even drive manual transmissions anymore. It never gets any motion. You never even turn around in a car to look behind you because the camera does the work. Little things become a big deal. That's why I said to you, hey, cross the other leg over once in a while. If you did this, I think some people would say you're kind of closed off to me. I'm trying to protect myself from you. Meanwhile, I'm going, can I just stretch my ass? Like, that's what I'm doing right now. Oh, that feels kind of good. That'll be good in pickleball later. And I'm killing two birds, one stone. Now I move it over to this side, which I blew out mountain biking, going, wow, I really got to stretch this one. And you're not really stretching tissue, but you're changing the alignment. But on the back side, there's a huge adjustment going on at the SI joint, the lumbar spine, but nobody ever thinks about that. And when you do that, you're adjusting your jaw, your neck, because it's a whole chain. Yeah. And that's what we mainly focus on. When you look at the body as a whole, from a simplistic way of doing it, it's an absolute game changer.
Yeah, it's incredible how our bodies are able to really perform, and how if we pay attention to them and what they're trying to tell us, so much can be fixed and be I want to say like cured, but turned around.
But you just said it. If we pay attention, how about we change if to when? Like, I don't do if. When you get up in the morning, take the temperature. Stand there beside your bed. How's today going to be? Let me look in the mirror. That shoulder's much more level than it was yesterday. Okay, I'm already off to a good start. Let's get downstairs, make some Danger coffee, some Bulletproof coffee, or whatever you're going to drink. Butter in the coffee, grass-fed, by the way. And you're doing all that stuff, and then I'm going to get in front of red light. Get some sun, whatever you're going to do. But if you don't take an account of where you are, you're not paying attention. Mm-hmm. How did I feel? Get out of bed and just going, oh, I'm sore. Okay, what are you sore from? Well, I ran 7 miles yesterday. Stop bitching. You're sore from running. Like, how about your body's just talking to you? What are you going to do to decrease that soreness? Well, it's going to be there for a couple days. Doesn't have to be. You could get into your jacuzzi, let it run at 104, let it heat your internal temperature up like a sauna does. Listen to Huberman. Even a jacuzzi can create heat shock proteins. So you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to put all this equipment like I have in my house. You don't need it. You could get it. But if you allow me to do it, I'll spend every dollar that you have, making sure that your house is set up that way. So, but you don't have to do that stuff. There's simple things like walking with your hands on your head like this, elbows pulled back for a quarter of a mile during a walk, and all of a sudden, my knee doesn't hurt anymore. Why? And then start asking questions. Then I expect a DM on Facebook or something like that, or Instagram, where you're going, I walked with my hands on my head. Excuse me, my OA knee used to bother me. Why didn't it hurt as much? Now I walk you through the narrative as to how. But you can't walk around with your hands on your head unless you're from like New York or LA. That would be normal. But if you're from anywhere else that's normal, then you're actually just changing biomechanics.
Yeah.
And every little bit helps.
Oh man, Brian, I could talk to you all day. I feel like we just saw the tip of the iceberg.
Quick, can you repeat that?
I could talk.
Because my sisters are listening. Do you hear that? She said she could talk to me all day. Okay, go ahead.
So I guess that means we just have to have you come back on the show so we
100%.
can talk again. But if people want to learn more about you, we talked about your Instagram a lot, but how can they learn more about you, get in touch with you, learn things more about you?
So I'm in the middle of a rebrand of the company called the Egoscue Method. We're in the middle of the rebrand, moving it over to, right now, Posture RX, POSTURX, like a prescription. Take the E off the back end. The reason why
Couldn't
we're doing
afford the E.
What's that?
Said you couldn't afford the E.
I couldn't buy it. Yeah, damn. But if you think about it, it's a rebrand that I wanted to scale when somebody said, they're no longer asking me, how do you pronounce it? How do you say it? Because if I said to you, what was the first company?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I know it's Posture RX now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that's how memorable we want this kind of stuff to be, where it sticks in your head. You go home and you tell 5 of your friends, and by the way, he answers his own DM, blah, 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 blah. Oh, he has clinics all over the country and some in Japan and Mexico and all these things. You know, you look at it from the standpoint of how can we really help out society? If I can leave you with this. Anybody doing these podcasts or owning a business, if you just quit making it about you and your significance and how important you are, kill the word me, I listen to lectures all over the world. I is a killer of trust, because all I'm doing is talking about me versus going, Brian, you're so good at what you do. I know, but it's because I have to be, because you are on the receiving end. All we did was neurolinguistic, NLP that. You wanted to make it about me, I just reflected it back on you, and all of a sudden you have to accept it. And now it's time for you to serve you. Only do the exercises on the days you brush your teeth. Now let me be clear. I grew up in the great state of Pennsylvania. And where I grew up, that would be a Tuesday, Thursday. So I prefer you brush your teeth every day. What? Stupid dad humor sells too. This is good. But I appreciate you taking the time to do this. And yeah, there's a lot of subjects we could talk about. But again, please get a hold of me, and I'll make sure you guys have my email and my socials, and we'll
check out the show notes, follow him on the gram, connect with him, and check out the new rebranded Posture RX.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me on Behind the Practice.
I love it.
Behind the Practice is produced by Next Step Social and Podcasting and hosted by Katie Brinkley and Sean Quintero. A special thank you to our guests today. This episode was recorded live at the Boston Biolife Functional Longevity Summit. A special thank you to the team that helped make this podcast happen.